Hello, welcome back to Whiny Wednesdays. We're going to be talking about the most anticipated topic of them all, which is debunking myths about sponsorship. This is my personal definition of what sponsorship is in the 21st century. A sponsor works with you to gain brand awareness, sell products, and enhance their reputation. Various agreements are made on an individualistic basis in order to achieve this goal. So this is the agreement. It's your branding, your personality, and your exposure in exchange for their products, sometimes financial gain, and new opportunities that might not have been possible without them. Now I'm going to be brutally frank for a moment. No sport, person, or event deserves to receive sponsorship if they cannot effectively help the sponsor to gain brand awareness, sell their products, or enhance their reputation. Gone are the days where you can receive a big wad of cash for putting someone's logo on your shirt or even on your face. So let's take a look at what I think are the top 5 sponsorship myths in the darting world. Number 1 myth in the darting world is, I'm good at my sport, so companies should sponsor me, right? Sure, you might think being a talented player is enough to have an impact on the sponsor's reputation, but you are unfortunately misguided in terms of the effectiveness of just slapping a patch on yourself and calling it a day. Which means that unless your name is Phil Taylor, Paul Lim, Michael Van Gerwen, etc., you are not going to get picked up just because you feel entitled to it based on your performance alone. Because being good at your chosen field definitely helps. I mean, there's no doubt about that. But just because you win things and break records doesn't mean a brand wants to be associated with you. The second most common myth in the dart world is, I can't wait to get sponsored so companies will send me cross-country to major tournaments. Oh man, there is just so much wrong with that. You 100% need to already be traveling and exposing yourself to a large following before ever being seriously considered for a significant sponsorship. And this is one of the worst expectations of companies because players just really don't understand that the company will not get a return on investment to send you all over the country. You need to be making them significantly more in revenue than they are giving to you. So if you've hardly ever traveled anywhere or made a name for yourself and you have, 200 friends on Facebook that aren't really influenced by you, then in what world is a company benefiting from spending hundreds of dollars to send you to tournaments? A lot of people find this discouraging, but in all honesty, it truly is your own base responsibility to already be passionate enough about the game and budget your own finances to make sure you can afford to travel. Otherwise, you need to be winning back-to-back world stages if you're getting your traveling and lodging paid for. Moving on to myth number 3, I don't really want to be sponsored because I don't want to be forced to go to specific tournaments. Like, what the hell? I don't know why so many people think this, but no one is forcing me to buy plane tickets to attend events that I can't afford to go to, nor do I want to go to. Beyond that, all elite players already have been going to these major events throughout the year because it's the set standard. And there's a base level of expectation to attend these events. Otherwise, you don't really even have a career in darts. You're basically just a marketer at that point, which is cool. I mean, that's essentially what I am. Myth number 4. Now that I finally obtained sponsorship, it's an everlasting agreement. Ooh, complacency will get you nowhere in this game, and you have to put yourself in the shoes of the business that's spending money on you or your event. Because if they smell that you have this attitude, that will signal a red flag so quick because sponsors really need to be treasured and engaged with just as the player does. And if you as the player feel that you're being taken for granted, then you have the ability to change things up and renegotiate. Moral of the story with this myth is that players can and will be dropped or fired for credible reasons. American darters go through a roller coaster of personal struggle via drugs or inappropriate negative social media use, and the ever-growing history of bad press and poor financial budgeting is going to cost you your sponsorship. The 5th and final myth about sponsorship in the dart world is, I'm awesome and my brand is valuable to any company. No, it isn't. I'm sorry, but the company that sponsors you has to be in line with you. And different companies have different demographics of players watching and buying. Pay attention to that and you'll realize how quickly you'll increase your chances of being picked up instead of wasting your time pitching yourself to companies that are probably not interested in you in the first place. And don't worry, I'm going to fully explain that last one in next week's video about actually obtaining sponsorship and how to keep it. But for now, the final message I want you guys to take away from this video is that sponsorship has evolved significantly in recent years. And in the 21st century, it's more quantitative than ever. So you need to make sure you're matching stride. Because the worst myth of all is that sponsorship is a reward for players. A reward for being such a swell athlete. But it's not a reward. It's a business agreement between a company and an athlete, and no one deserves it without doing their job. It's a full-time job. And if you don't have the time or the social media following and are unwilling to do anything to change your current situation, then you really should not be attempting to obtain sponsorship at all. And that's okay. That's all that I have for you guys. Subscribe to my YouTube channel so you don't miss part 2 to this huge topic. And that's where all the magic's gonna happen, because I'm gonna be giving my personal tips on how to obtain sponsorship and keep it, while going so far as to defining exactly who will and will not benefit from sponsorship. So thank you everyone for watching. Happy holidays, be safe, bye! We're all going to have to actually stand up for one another in real life. I'm not talking about just sounding off on the internet or sharing stories and videos like this one that echo in your bubble. I'm talking about actual human sacrifice in real life to help support someone and help them thrive.